So unfortunately, my microphone died as I came to the beach. I don't know why I didn't think to charge it. I thought it was charged, my apologies. So TFC today is brought to you by Cocoa Beach in Florida. We are on vacation and I was in Epcot during yesterday's game, but I've got nothing else to do on the beach. Emily's more of like a chill, relax, and read type person. Meanwhile, I am very much a go out and do things person. So I'm just gonna take a walk along the beach and talk about yesterday's game because why not? We'll get to the ending in a bit, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to edit this or not. It'll become very apparent throughout the video whether I can or can't, but starting with the draft. Jinx was a pick that we have not seen in a long time, and it's very abundantly clear that we are now not swapping, but we are fully embracing the double lift is going to carry us to wins thought process methodology of the game. You're playing Tenacity on Gragas, which is just a supportive pick that allows us to get picks in order for the Jinx to get her reset, for her to get excited, and then just take over a fight. Azir scales into the late game. Vi is the early game jungler that helps us transition to that period. And by all means, that worked early whenever we had the early gank from Vi onto the Jinx Karma lane, and all was looking good. But unfortunately, mid lane kind of collapsed in that Sylas and Jojo Pune, who is still, I think, the best mid laner in the league by a wide margin, got a good counter gank alongside Sejuani, and it was what it was. But then once again they roam bot lane, you get Sylas a few more kills, and all of a sudden Jojo Pune is off to the races, and we are just left to sit back, to scale, and to wait. Now, why Jojo Pune was able to roam alongside the Sejuani. Now, the Sejuani got a lucky timing of a ward dying, so I'm not too pissed at that. Otherwise, it is what it is. But I'm assuming Bjergsen called Jojo was roaming. We just didn't expect it was for it is what it is. The problem then becomes we are behind a comp that is obviously going to beat us early. That's fine. You want to sit back and scale and wait for Jinx and Azir to hit their power spikes so we can win the game, which did eventually happen. However, as Whippo pointed out on the cast, you don't want to take fights that you really shouldn't be taking that are just going to get you further behind and give up objectives. So the second Rift Herald fight and some of the other dragon fights that we took, we didn't need to. You can just make sure you're funneling gold into your carries. This is exactly what Evil Geniuses did last year with Danny, and it worked out insanely well. They scaled to 30 minutes and then they just force team fights and they're good. Granted, we messed that up a little bit, but we were still in a position that we could have done that easily. Double Lift was on 4 items with IE, Runins, Kraken Slayer, and what's the penetration? LDR, Lord Dominic's. He was able to win the entire team fight. But we were so gun shy, or trigger shy. I don't know. We were scared to take fights. We just sat there, and EG allowed us back into the game somehow rather than just ending it. It is, like, sure, whatever. But then we just don't take fights. Even though we're 7k gold down items-wise, we are fine. We win team fights. We do nothing, and then this happens. If I can't show the video, the TLDR was that we traded a Baron for a base, which, oh man. To my TSM fans that might be 100 Thieves fans now because of Double Lifter Bjergsen, you're very familiar with this feeling. I'm very familiar with it because if you haven't watched any of these previous videos, when I got into League of Legends, it was because of 2016 TSM with Bjergsen and Double Lift. Granted, I then jumped to Optic and 100 Thieves, but I'm very familiar with this. I know this feeling. I know what it's like when you sit there and you just make bad late game macro decisions and don't try and challenge during your strong windows or make bad decisions during your weak windows. It is a staple with Double Lift and Bjergsen. It has happened for the longest time now. And look, it's okay that it happened again, so long as we learn from it and it doesn't pop up anymore. If we continue to see this, then it's a problem. Then it's either A, the older voices on the team are still continuously calling for this and being too shy to pull the trigger on it. B, the coaches are not doing an effective job in that regard. Or C, the younger players need to step up and start saying, hey, let's just fucking do something. Please, anything. We'll see. I'm not freaking out over this game. I know a lot of people on Reddit are memeing, sure, but overall we're in a pretty good spot. We lost to the 3 teams that are above us in EG and Cloud9 and who else? Oh, FlyQuest, of course. So I'm not upset with that. It is what it is. However, I should probably turn back. Still walking back. We have a game against EG today that I think is going to be all important. Or not, we have a game against CLG. CLG coming off a bounce back win yesterday over Team Liquid, which Team Liquid looks not great. But we should be able to win this. Assuming we win this, we're ultimately fine. We're growing, we will scale as time goes on. Our younger players will continue to develop as Busio and Tenacity become seasoned veterans as the years go on. They're still in their first 3 weeks as LCS Pro players, so they deserve all the time in the world that should be given to them. And then Doublelift and Bjergsen just need to keep coming back into form. Doublelift, I don't know. I'm interested to see how he progresses, because he's the one player who was playing last year and is still getting pretty destroyed by Jojopune in some of these lanes alongside gangs from Inspired. So it's like, I'm curious to see with Doublelift, or not with Doublelift, with Bjergsen, sorry. Are there any improvements that he can make in lane? Because clearly he's never going to be that guy that just smashes lane anymore, or just like overpowers everybody in the league. I think Jojopune's too good. I think players like Vikla are also going to be really good, and Diplex is proving to be a formidable foe as well. You can lose lane, but you can lose lane with grace, and it feels like we're not at that point yet. He's not bleeding damage or bleeding kills to the point where he's like 0-6, but he's bleeding 1 or 2, and then it snowballs into objectives that we are then just making bad macro decisions around, which hopefully that will come back over time, but we'll see. As I said, overall, not too worried. I know a lot of people are going to want to address the point of, oh, well, sitting back and scaling does not work on an international stage. Again, I will say ignore the international stage. The point you should be making is that it's not going to work against Evil Geniuses or Cloud9. They're the 2 teams that are going to just stomp over you in the early game if you give them the chance to. So I want to focus on being able, if we are going to play that strategy, figure out a way to make it work domestically, figure out a way to make it work against these teams. But I will say, in terms of growing a fan base, that this is not going to be the play style that lets you do it. This roster is exciting. It's got a lot of people talking about it, partially because of Doublelift, partially because of Bjergsen, partially because of the rookies. But one way to kill hype is to play a style that people just don't enjoy. Now, granted, winning helps solve that and can be entertaining, but if you're going to be 4th place, like a lot of people were expecting this roster to be, and you're playing the style that is just like sit back, scale, and wait, you're going to turn a lot of people off, because people are just going to look at EG and look at Cloud9 and look at FlyQuest and be like, they're more entertaining to watch. And at the end of the day, it's all about entertainment. So I have no problem with the strategy if it works, if it wins. But if it's a 4th place strategy to sit back and scale, I think we got some bad signs. But it's one single game, no point in overreacting. The whole point of this video is just to analyze and break down my thoughts on it. But we'll see how it goes. Also, going to be very interesting to watch Doublelift's review on this and see what he's willing to say versus what he doesn't, and how much responsibility he takes versus on the shot calling and everything else in the situation, we'll have to see, because this is one of those moments now where that becomes must-watch content. Everybody's gonna want to see it. Everybody's gonna want to tune in. It's gonna be very important how you say things. His teammates might not get pissed off if he says anything a little bit inflammatory, but he has the ability to shift community perception and shift community narrative. It's just the role that he's in. So that video and stream is going to be a little bit important. We'll see. Anyways, tomorrow's vlog will likely be from an airport. I watched yesterday's game from Epcot itself and then rewatched it later because we were riding the Guardians of the Galaxy ride while all this was going on. And then got done with the ride, saw that we lost the game, and the way that we did was like, had to ride the ride again, which is phenomenal the second time. But we got Iran as the song the first time around, for those that know the Guardians of the Galaxy ride in Epcot. We got September the second time. I really wanted Everybody Wants to Rule the World. Today we're at the beach. Tomorrow, Universal Studios. Emily's a big Harry Potter fan, so we're going to Harry Potter World in Diagon Alley. And then I want to see the Despicable Me Minions area. That's about it. I guess I'll catch you all from the airport tomorrow. Hopefully today we get a pretty good win against CLG, and we'll see from there. Hope you all have a phenomenal day. Adios.